Welcome to Skip Reading. Today, we're going to talk about the book Right Risk by Bill Treasurer. Everyone's life reaches a point where they have to take a big step, make a decision that involves risk. And at such times, the biggest question is, am I doing the right thing? The answer only becomes clear when we know who we are and what our life's purpose is. This is about finding your core purpose, recognizing your true aim. When we're aware of our inner values, beliefs, and priorities, we become more confident. Then, taking risks doesn't feel scary. Instead, there's an excitement and energy because we know that what we're doing is connected to our soul. We're not just doing something because others are or due to societal pressure. We're choosing what's meaningful to us. Suppose freedom is very important to someone, whether it's the freedom to travel, work on their own terms, or speak their mind. If such a person gets an opportunity that requires them to leave a stable job and start something of their own, it might seem risky from the outside. But if it's connected to their core value, freedom, that risk won't scare them. It will motivate them. Now, imagine someone whose greatest value is creativity. They want their work to be unique, to create something new, something that brings out their inner imagination. If they're feeling suffocated in a corporate job and find a project with less pay, but where they can freely explore their ideas, that risk will feel authentic and they'll enjoy taking it, not fear it. Purpose brings clarity. When we know what we value, decision-making becomes easier. We don't overthink. We don't get caught in comparisons. We stay loyal to ourselves. And that's the most important thing, being honest with yourself. Because when we choose something that goes against our values, even if it's safe, something feels missing. Satisfaction doesn't come. Now, if you also want to identify your core purpose, do a simple exercise. First, take a piece of paper and write down your top 5 values. Values that are non-negotiable for you, like 1. Freedom, 2. Creativity, 3. Honesty, 4. Growth, 5. Contribution. Now, suppose you have an opportunity to take a risk, say, a new job offer or a business idea. Match that risk with these 5 values. Does the opportunity offer you more freedom? Does it involve creativity? Will it help your personal growth? Will it give you a chance to help others? If the answers to these questions are yes, then understand that the risk aligns with your purpose, and taking such a risk is worth it. Often, people are afraid to take risks because they don't even know what they want. They're just looking at the outcome. What if I fail? But if you know your purpose, the process becomes more important than the result. Then you even see failure as a learning opportunity. Another interesting thing is that when you take risks according to your core values, it's like the universe also helps you. People start supporting you. Paths begin to form on their own. And most importantly, an unstoppable energy arises within you. Now imagine a story. There was a guy named Rahul. He had studied at a good college and worked at a big company. Everything was fine, but somewhere deep inside there was an emptiness. He had always wanted to do something creative, something that could change people's lives. But he was scared. What would his family say if he quit his job? What if he failed? One day, he wrote down his 5 values: creativity, impact, freedom, authenticity, growth. And when he compared his current job to these values, he felt he was just earning money, but losing himself. So he took a calculated risk, quit his job, and started his YouTube channel where he motivated people and shared their life stories. Initially, the response was slow, but his energy and clarity were such that people gradually started connecting. Today, he's fulfilled because he did what was connected to his core purpose. Throughout this journey, Rahul's greatest weapon was clarity, that inner voice repeatedly saying, "You can do more than this." Understanding and heeding that voice is what it means to recognize your purpose. When we know our values, we don't succumb to any external pressure. We don't compare, feel jealous, or have regrets. We make our own path. And no matter what happens on that path, there's a satisfaction that we listen to our heart. So, the next time a risky opportunity comes your way, first think, does this match my core values? Will this decision take me closer to the purpose I'm living for? If yes, take the risk. It will be scary, but that fear will turn into excitement. And if not, then even if everyone says it's a great opportunity, you can say no, because your standard is your purpose, not someone else's opinion. If you like our free summaries, you can subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon also. Now back to the summary. The strongest person in life isn't someone who isn't afraid of risk, but someone who knows which risk is right for them and which isn't. And this clarity only comes when you recognize your core purpose. So, today, sit quietly for a while, connect with yourself, and ask, what is most important to me? Whatever answer comes, write it down. This will be your compass. And whenever you have to make a big decision, this compass will give you the right direction. This will be your strength. This will be your story. Are you ready to write your story? Sometimes, life brings us to a crossroads where moving forward seems terrifying. The heart pounds, hands and feet tremble, and the mind just thinks, can I do this? At such times, we often think we first need to feel confident, that the fear must go away before we can take any action. But the truth is the opposite. Courage doesn't mean there's no fear. The true meaning of courage is moving forward despite the fear. This is courage, and this is the real meaning of tap into your courage reserve. Courage isn't something that suddenly appears within us. It's not magic, where we were scared until today and suddenly became fearless one day. Courage is like a muscle. Just as muscles get strong by working out repeatedly at the gym, every time we take action despite fear, our courage muscle gets stronger. Now, imagine you have a reserve inside you, like a water tank, but instead of water, courage is stored there. Every time you do something that scares you, but you do it anyway, a little more courage is deposited into that reserve. And when needed, you draw courage from there and put it to work. Author Treasure also learned this from a very intense experience in his life. He was a high diver. Imagine jumping into water from many feet high, where a small mistake could be fatal. The first time he dived, his whole body was racked with fear, but instead of stopping, he repeated a small phrase in his mind. Move forward despite the fear. He took the step and jumped. And this one action gradually strengthened the courage within him. This story teaches us a very important lesson. We need action to feel brave, not perfect confidence to take action. Take the first step. Courage will follow. Now, think about the first time you did something outside your comfort zone, like talking to a stranger, speaking on stage, or starting a new job. Were you fearless? No, right? But you still did it. And afterward, you realized, hey, I did it. And that one action filled you with a little more courage. Many times, we think courage is a personality trait. Some people have it, some don't. But actually, courage comes from practice, from taking small steps repeatedly. Suppose you're afraid of public speaking. If you think, I'll speak when I feel confident, that day might never come. But if you start by speaking to a small group, then gradually practice in front of larger audiences, that fear will slowly diminish and your courage will grow. Another thing that's very important to understand is that it's normal to feel fear. It's not possible to completely eliminate fear, but to control it, manage it, and move forward despite it. That's courage. Nothing is gained by running away from fear, but facing fear and still taking a step forward brings self-respect, an inner strength that nothing else can provide. Now, imagine there's a voice inside you saying, you can do it, just take one step. And when you take that first step, that voice gets a little louder. These small victories build a belief within you that you are bigger than your fear. And when this belief becomes firm, even very big things start to seem small. Let's understand this with a story. There was a girl named Neha. She was very intelligent, but also very shy. She liked to express her ideas, but would get extremely nervous at the mere mention of speaking on stage. One day, her teacher nominated her for a class presentation. At first, she was scared, but then she thought, if I back down today, I'll always stay behind. She prepared for presentation, practiced a lot, and when it was time to speak, she went on stage, even though she was scared. For the first 2 minutes, she was nervous, but then she gradually gained control and explained the entire topic confidently. After that day, she practiced speaking at every small and large opportunity. Today, she is a motivational speaker. She followed a simple rule: action first, courage later. We all have such a courage reserve within us. We just need to activate it. And that's only possible when we step out of our comfort zone. The comfort zone feels safe, But growth is only possible where there's a little discomfort. Another secret of courage is that when we face a big fear, smaller fears automatically weaken. Suppose you once openly told someone how you felt, despite the fear of rejection. Then, giving honest feedback to someone at the office or asking a stranger for help starts to seem easier. Courage is also connected to self-trust. When you repeatedly take action despite fear, your mind learns that you can trust yourself. No matter what happens, you'll handle it. And this trust makes your decisions more powerful. And remember, no great achievement is possible without courage. Whether it's an artist, entrepreneur, athlete, or anyone who has done something extraordinary, they did it all with fear. The only difference was that they took action despite the fear. Now, a small challenge. Today, do something small outside your comfort zone. Something that makes you a little scared just thinking about doing it, like calling an old friend, writing down a new idea and sharing it, or talking to a stranger. Just take one step and see how your confidence grows a little more. Putting courage into practice isn't a one-day job. It's a habit. Once you get used to it, nothing in the world can stop you. You make yourself a little more fearless every day. So, whenever you feel scared, don't think, I'll move forward once I feel confident. Just ask yourself one question. Can I do this even with fear? And if the answer is yes, take the step. This is your courage reserve. This is your real strength. And the best part is, every time you do this, your story becomes a little more inspiring. And one day, someone else will learn from you that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's moving forward with it. We've all felt fear at some point, that feeling that makes your heart race, quickens your breath, and stops you from taking any action. But have you ever thought that fear is just a signal? Fear isn't an enemy. It's a messenger. Fear comes to tell us something. It tries to protect us from danger, or sometimes it just stops us from going outside our comfort zone. Facing fear means understanding it instead of avoiding it, talking to it, and asking, why are you here? Treasure says to stop considering fear your enemy. Make it your friend. Whenever fear arises, instead of running, stop and ask it, what are you protecting me from? Is there a real danger or just discomfort? Many times, the fear we feel isn't due to any physical danger, but because of imagined outcomes. For example, if I fail, what will people say? If I speak my mind and someone gets offended, then what? Or if I try and the result isn't good, then what? Most of these fears are stories created by our minds, based on negative imaginations of the future. Now think carefully. Suppose you need to talk to an important person, but you're scared. Your mind is saying, what if they say no? What if they get angry? What if I get rejected? But what has actually happened? Nothing. Just a thought came, and that thought took the form of fear. Meaning, fear didn't come from a real threat, but from imagination. That's why the most powerful way to face fear is to name it. Something that has a name doesn't remain vague. When we clearly articulate and identify our fear, I'm afraid of rejection, I'm afraid of loneliness, I'm afraid of failure, that fear becomes a little weaker. Fear without a name is like a shadow, big and intimidating. But as soon as you shine a light on it and name it, that shadow shrinks. There's a tool Treasurer calls the fear audit. It means auditing your fear, just like we audit finances. Whenever you feel fear, ask yourself these questions. What is this fear about? Is this fear due to a real danger or just imagination? If the worst case scenario does come true, can I handle it? Am I losing something important by trying to avoid this fear? Now, let's understand this with an example. There's a guy named Amit. He wants to start his YouTube channel, but he's constantly afraid of what people will think. Will I be able to speak well? What if someone makes fun of me? Now, if he avoids his fear, he might never start. But if he does a fear audit, he'll ask himself, what am I afraid of? What people will think? Is this a real danger? No, it's just discomfort. What if people make fun of me? Some might, but many will also appreciate it. Can I handle it? Yes. And when he understands his fear isn't real but imagined, its power will automatically decrease. Then he can start making his videos. Our brain always seeks safety. So, whenever it comes to trying something new, it first sends fear so that we stay safe. But life doesn't just run on safety. growth, success, and fulfillment lie beyond that discomfort. And facing fear opens that path. Now, imagine if you started practicing facing fear every time. What would happen? A time will come when fear won't control your decisions. You'll acknowledge the fear, but take action despite it. And that is courage. Inner strength comes out only by facing fear. Another point of note is that when we run from fear, it grows bigger. But when we move towards it, question it, it starts to shrink. Running from fear gives temporary comfort, but brings long-term regret. And facing fear brings temporary discomfort, but long-term inner freedom. Another way to face fear is visualization. Whenever something feels scary, imagine you've done that task and everything turned out fine. Feel that feeling. This makes your brain consider that thing possible, and the fear lessens a bit. Let's clarify this with a story. There was a girl named Ria. She loved singing, but was terrified of singing on stage. One day, her friend told her, "Why are you running from fear? Go talk to your fear. Ask it why it's here." Ria wrote on paper, "I'm afraid of singing on stage because I'm afraid of rejection." Then she thought, even if people reject me, what will happen? Won't I be able to get over it? The answer was yes, she would. That day, she sang on stage, trembling slightly, but with all her heart. And she received so much love from people that her fear seemed to melt away. So, whenever fear comes, don't run. Stop, breathe, talk to it. Ask, why are you here? And then tell yourself, I know you're here, but I'm still going to move forward. Sometimes fear is also your guide. It tells you where you can grow. The scarier something seems, perhaps the biggest learning for you is hidden in it. Facing fear brings clarity and confidence within you. And when clarity comes, action becomes easier. Remember, fear will always be there. But that doesn't mean you stop. It just means you need to stop, think, understand, and then take a step in the right direction. Next time fear comes, don't chase it away. Invite it for tea, talk to it, and then smile and say, okay, let's move forward together. This is what it means to face fear. This is true bravery. And this is the beginning of inner freedom. Often, when we think about taking a big step, like starting a new business, quitting a job to follow a passion, or moving to a new place, the first thing that's necessary is preparation. Without preparation, any risk can become foolishness. But preparation done correctly turns that risk into a calculated and strategic move. Imagine if someone suddenly woke up one day and said, I'm starting my startup, without having learned the skills, understood the market, raised money, or made a plan. What would happen? Chances are very high that they would fail. And then they'd say, I took a risk, but it didn't work. But actually, the problem wasn't in taking the risk. It was in the lack of preparation. Preparation is a kind of invisible power. It's not visible, but when you have to jump for a decision, this preparation catches you and doesn't let you fall. Treasurer says, preparation is the soil from which right risks sprout, meaning preparation is the ground in which the seed of the right risk grows. Without good soil, no seed can become a tree. Similarly, without preparation, no bold move can become a success. Suppose your dream is to open your own cafe. You're excited, passionate, you love to cook, but a cafe doesn't run on excitement. If you think everything is possible with just enthusiasm, it's an illusion. You first need to learn what skills are needed to run a cafe. Managing finances, dealing with suppliers, customer service, marketing, staff management. Then you need to do market research. Where's the best place to open a cafe? What kind of menu will people like? What's the competition? After that, you need to make a business plan, raise money for investment, get legal licenses. And most importantly, you also need to be mentally prepared that nothing will be instantly perfect. Setbacks will come. Preparation isn't just physical, skills, money plan, but also mental. Mentally rehearsing how you'll respond if something goes wrong. If customers don't come the first 2 months of the cafe, how will you manage yourself? If a staff member suddenly quits, can you run things without panicking? All these things come only when you've mentally practiced beforehand. Let's understand this better with an example. There was a girl named Neha. Her dream was to start her own bakery, but she never made a rush decision. She first started making a business plan for the bakery in the evenings after her full-time job. On weekends, she started learning by working at a local bakery. She slowly started saving capital from her salary. She started making cakes for friends and neighbors for free to test them out and build a customer base through word of mouth. After doing all this silently for 2 years, when she felt she was financially, practically, and mentally ready, only then did she quit her job and launch the bakery. This was real preparation, and because of this, Neha's risk became a success story. Another very useful thing in preparation is contingency plans. This means plan B, plan C, meaning if your main plan fails for some reason, what's your backup? For example, if Neha's bakery initially made a loss, did she have an emergency fund for a few months? Did she have a plan to take up a part-time job again to recover the loss? Taking the right risk doesn't mean everything will be perfect. It means that even when something unplanned happens, you are prepared to handle it. Preparation is also a kind of confidence booster. When you know you prepare with all your effort, you feel stable even in any uncertain situation. That nervousness, that self-doubt decreases, and this inner confidence sets you apart from others. Another important part of preparation is learning from others. It's very important to learn from people who have already done what you want to do. Learn from their mistakes. Understand their strategies. This will give you an advantage that you can't get just from reading books. Real-world mentorship takes your preparation to the next level. Now, don't think that preparation means perfection. Many people don't even take action because of preparation, waiting for everything to be perfect. When I have more money, when I learn more, when I get a little more time, and that time never comes, preparation just means understanding your risk enough that you feel ready for it. You don't need to be 100% ready, but you should be at least 60% confident to take the step, and you can learn the rest along the way. Part of preparation is also being clear about your goals and values. If you're taking a risk just to impress others or just to make money, but your heart isn't in it, then preparation won't save you. But if that work comes from within you, is connected to your purpose, and you've done dedicated preparation for it, then it becomes a strong foundation. So, whenever you think of taking a big step, don't get carried away by excitement. First, think with a cool head, make a plan, build skills, prepare a support system, and then, when the time comes, take the risk with full confidence. Preparation turns risk into an adventure, not fear. The most beautiful thing in this process is that preparation itself is a journey. When you prepare yourself for a goal, you also make yourself better. You become more disciplined, your self-belief increases, and you feel a little stronger every day. This is the biggest gift of preparation. Whether that goal is achieved or not, you become a better person. So, the next time you think of taking a bold step, ask yourself, is my preparation complete? If yes, go ahead. And if not, don't worry. Just start preparing. Slowly but surely, but consistently. Because the right preparation is a foundation on which your dream will rest. And when it's strong, no risk can bring you down. It will only teach you to fly. When a person thinks of taking a big step, a risk that is outside their comfort zone, the first feelings that come are fear and loneliness. It feels like you're walking this path all alone, and if something goes wrong, it will be all your loss. This thought often pulls us back. But if you're not alone on this journey, if you have some people with you who support you, challenge you, and believe in you, then this risk can turn into an exciting adventure. This is the concept of recruit risk allies. It's human nature to often be afraid of making decisions alone. We are social beings. We need companionship, a shoulder to lean on, and most of all, someone who can remind us of our strength when we start to feel weak. Many times we start doubting our dreams, but if we have someone who reminds us, you can do this, that energy helps us get back up. Let's understand with an example. Suppose your dream is to start your own YouTube channel. You've thought of the idea, plan some content, but as soon as it's time to record, you get nervous. You think, what will people say? Will anyone even watch? Will I seem interesting or not? In such a situation, if you have a friend who is also a creator or a mentor who has done this before and they tell you, just take the first step. You don't start by being perfect. You start by trying. Your confidence returns. Risk allies aren't just friends or family. They are people who ask you the right questions, who are interested in your growth, who don't just praise you but also challenge you to improve. Sometimes we might consider something very safe, but a true ally asks us, are you just playing it safe, or do you really want to grow? Such questions shift our perspective. Treasure explains that when we take a bold step alone, our possibility of failure is higher because when difficulties arise, there's no one to catch us. But if we brought some people along as our allies, they not only motivate us but also provide practical guidance. A coach can teach you strategies, a mentor can save you from their mistakes, and a peer can be your cheerleader. The greatest power of allies in this journey is the reminder of your why. That is, when you have doubts, when you think that maybe this risk wasn't worth taking, these are the people who remind you why you started. They reawaken that purpose which you might have buried under fear. Now the question arises, how to make these risk allies? First, you need to be open-minded. Many people can't make allies simply because they think they have to do everything themselves. But real strength comes when you accept that everyone needs help. Then, observe people who have already walked the path you want to take. Connect with them, ask questions, learn. Social media today is a powerful tool to reach mentors and coaches. Peer groups are equally important. People whose struggles are similar to yours. They understand your feelings better. Discussing with them, sharing progress, celebrating failures and wins, all this keeps your confidence steady. Sometimes a small encouragement, like, saw your work today, it was great, can give you all the courage you need to try for one more day. Risk allies aren't just emotional support. They also become your accountability partners. When you tell someone, I'm going to do this, you have to live up to that commitment in front of them. They will ask you, so what happened? And this simple question keeps you connected to your commitment. This is what makes a difference in execution. Another beautiful thing about allies is that they celebrate your failures too, not because they enjoy it, but because they see your courage. When you take a step and it's not successful, a good ally will say, amazing, at least you tried. Now, let's see what can be done better next time. Such words give you the courage to try again. Sometimes the most powerful ally is someone you barely know, but their belief system, their experience, inspires you. So, consciously choose people around you who have a growth mindset. Stay away from toxic people who will constantly scare you and call your dreams unrealistic. People who understand and nurture your dreams are your true risk allies. Now, what if you don't have any allies right now? The first step is to show vulnerability. When you honestly tell someone, I need help, I'm going to do something new and I'm a little scared, people often surprise you and say, I'm with you. But if you try to show yourself as super confident, people will think you don't need anyone. So connect, be open, and share your mission honestly. People naturally want to connect with those who are passionate and authentic. And when you have people who are interested in your growth, your path will become a little easier and your speed will also increase. Remember, success is possible alone, but not sustainable. If you're on a long journey, if you really want to reach your dreams, you need people who will walk with you, sometimes to push you from behind, sometimes to offer a shoulder, and sometimes just so that when you're tired, someone can say, I'm here, keep going. So the next time you make a bold decision, take a new step, ask yourself, do I have any risk allies? If not, start looking for them today. Because walking alone can be brave, but walking together is wise. And often, it's this wisdom that gets you where you might never have reached alone. So, friends, that was our book summary for today. Let us know what you thought in the comments, and thank you for listening to the end.